Bienvenidas y bienvenidos a Santiago y a nuestro Congreso Internacional Conocimiento, Cultura y Ecologías CAICI 2017. Knowledge Culture es una serie de conferencias creada por el Instituto de Cultura y Sociedad en Western Sydney University. Esta es la cuarta conferencia Knowledge Culture. La primera fue en el 2011 en Sydney, que era Knowledge Culture Social Change. La segunda también fue en Sydney, en el 2014, que fue Knowledge Culture Economy. La tercera fue una versión en Vietnam y esta es la cuarta versión, Knowledge Culture Ecologies, que hacemos en Santiago. Este fue un evento de 4 días, de miércoles a sábado. Tuvimos casi 350 expositores de 32 países, de 179 organizaciones, incluyendo alrededor de 140 universidades, más ONGs, colectivos de artistas, colectivos de activistas también y investigadores y artistas individuales.
The conference is about ecologies, and so what we wanted to do was work with the people in Santiago and develop a partnership to talk about how ecologies are not a straightforward thing, so that instead of thinking around straightforward sustainability issues, we wanted to work towards the tensions and contradictions of what it is to be human, and then how you relate to other than human activities, processes, objects.
It was quite clear from the call, the definition of what the conference was about, that a lot of thought had been put together about how we move thinking forwards in this very sort of challenging times of environmental change and political changes around the planet.
It's such an honor, in fact, to be here speaking among such world-renowned thinkers. And I feel like when I look through the themes that the conference grapples with, I feel such an affinity with the politics of this work, with the questions that people here are raising, and it feels like there's some profound resonance and kinship among people coming from many, many, many places in the world.
It's important for me to be here to listen to them, to see what they're doing, but also to present the way in which I've been trying to unravel the economy as something that's out there that does things to us, because we're actually part of the economy, and also natural processes are as well.
The majority of the people assembled here are interested in the relationship between the social, the ecological and the technical from a critical theoretical perspective.
The organizers brought together different communities. There are people interested in political ecology. There are people interested in technology and culture. There are people interested in material politics. These communities don't overlap so much. They may, work in the same building or meet in very large conferences, but it's very rare to have a conference that's really designed to enable discussion between these different communities.
We were so used to seeing these issues as separate, and a conference like this allows us to see that there are these very intimate connections between the social and the things that we call natural, and it's important for us to kind of blur those lines as much as we can.
I think this conference is a wonderful intellectual community which is very generous towards one another, and that really unites an interest in an ethical mission of knowledge production.
A mí me interesan estas conferencias en la medida en que luego se pueda socializar y que sean abiertas a la comunidad. Siento que el mundo académico tiene una gran deuda que le cuesta, porque quizás es un metalenguaje, le cuesta un poco socializar lo que ellos saben, lo que han investigado y la información que tienen con el común y corriente, ¿no? Y sobre todo más con los pueblos indígenas.
Yo soy bióloga mapuche, soy mapuche, y creo que estos encuentros siempre los agradezco porque siento que somos puentes para llevar la voz de muchos pobladores, de mucha gente de nuestra tierra.
Este encuentro específico ha sido sumamente importante, primero porque es en el sur y trae gente del norte, del este, del oeste, trae gente de todas partes, pero es en el sur.
So I don't mean to say that this conference has been from the global south, but it's been put together across two specific souths, the specific souths of Sydney and Santiago. And I do think that creates an event that is somehow different.
dentro de la modernidad, que es ese todo, hay una arrogancia del saber eurocéntrico muy mezclado a una pedagogía desde ese saber eurocéntrico. Entonces, yo no veo tanto un problema para comenzar a salir de romper con herencias de la modernidad que son potentes, sino comenzar a romper con esa arrogancia del saber eurocéntrico.
Uno de los grandes temas de la conferencia es cómo podemos pensar de una forma diferente la relación entre humanos y no humanos. Y mi punto de entrada a esa pregunta es un concepto relativamente nuevo para nosotros en las ciencias sociales, que es el concepto de habitabilidad, que viene el diseño, viene la arquitectura, viene el urbanismo. Entonces mi contribución es cómo podemos pensar por un lado cómo las formas de habitar en Occidente, desde la antigüedad occidental hace 26 siglos hasta hoy en día, se han construido en contra de el entorno natural y el mundo natural. Y cómo, por otro lado, podemos entonces repensar esas formas de habitar y realmente fomentar formas de habitar no antropocéntricas, donde el espacio construido realmente converse, dialogue y se abra al entorno natural.
So I came to Santiago to do a presentation called Drift, and it was about thinking about how things move within the body of the Earth as a kind of way into thinking about the Earth as what I call a planetary commons, which is a kind of collection of living and non-living things which have evolved different ways of moving.
I'm trying to sort of help people to dream another possible world by imagining we might have plants as our most important allies in growing livable worlds. And so the form of my talk was a kind of incantation that gave a kind of step-by-step guide.
So I was presenting some research that I have been doing for the last year and a half with the conventional farming community in England, who is reconfiguring their relationship with the soils through relations of care. So I'm very interested in the interplay of ethics and practice in this changing relationship between farmers and soils, which is what I was talking about today.
My talk is really about how do we move beyond thinking about the economy and the environment as two separate things, and one compromises the other. All the ways in which sometimes we're told it's either jobs or environment. You know, we can do this or we can do that. And so the two different spheres seen as quite separate, and I think we need to start thinking about livelihoods that cut across questions of economy and environment, because we need to reframe how we're living together in the world, both with other natural processes and with other humans.
The Aberdares Mountain used to be the hiding place of the resistance fighters, such as Mau Mau's, and so we are really looking at the role that the mountains itself played, alongside, I don't know how to put it, but the embodiment of the mountains and the fighters themselves, because normally we tend to see those things as separate, but we are trying to really look at the entanglement of the Mau Mau fighters and the mountains, the stories that come out of that kind of entanglement.
Trata sobre las diferentes percepciones de los pobladores de Patagonia respecto a las truchas exóticas introducidas en Patagonia. Y un caso particular que trata sobre la cosmovisión del pueblo mapuche, sobre la percepción y conocimiento en relación con el agua y los peces, desde la visión del pueblo.
I gave a talk about experiments that are being run in the streets of London with driverless cars. And what I spoke about is how the experiment is increasingly a way in which engineers, but also governments, introduce new technologies into society.
Je suis venue présenter une enquête que j'ai menée pendant 7 ans avec des personnes qui, dans la France et la Belgique contemporaine, ont le sentiment que leurs proches décédés attendent quelque chose d'elles, leur demandent de faire des choses, d'agir, de répondre à une demande. Et je suis venue parler de 2 choses à ce sujet-là. La première, c'est que ce dont ces personnes témoignent, c'est d'un élargissement du régime d'obligation. Ça, c'est le premier point. Le deuxième point, c'est que j'ai développé l'idée qu'il était urgent de développer, qu'il était urgent de repenser et de cultiver, comme certains chercheurs le font, ce que Isabelle Stenger s'appelle une écologie des pratiques.
In this conference I have been talking about what I and others have called the Anthropocene. This is a transformation of the term Anthropocene. Anthropocene is the name that has been given to the idea that we humans have become active agents in transforming the whole of the planetary geophysical constellation. So in the debate over the meaning of the Anthropocene for the position of humans in the world, my argument is that much of that debate is depoliticizing, that it does not recognize sufficiently the fact that some people have become active agents in this reconstruction of the earth and that many people have absolutely no power over that at all.
El trabajo que realizamos fue el análisis de un proyecto del Ministerio de Energía que buscaba desarrollar una política energética hacia el 2050, se llama Energía 2050, y eso lo miramos como en función de qué rol tiene la política explícita. Digamos, acá se habla mucho de esta política más como implícita, nosotros estamos hablando explícitamente de la política partidista, de los intereses políticos, qué sé yo, en imaginar mundos y visiones y futuros diferentes.
The work that I've been presenting here is somewhat sprawling. It begins in a very specific chemical controversy, and it tries to do justice to the concerns of these people that are facing chronic cruddy and corrosive chemical exposures, and learning that doing justice to that problem that they're facing and trying to stop it in a robust sense is really complicated. So what I've been trying to do is show that every kind of intervention you make into the toxic world, every way that you try to detoxify our human changed planet, they all have their sort of self-edifying logic. Every way you do something sort of disqualifies another way. So.
El lugar se conoce como Villa Inflamable y está, digamos, dentro del polo petroquímico de Dock Sud. Entonces lo que presenté un poco son las percepciones que tienen los habitantes sobre el entorno en el que viven y algo así como la atmósfera de confusión tóxica que se genera en torno no solo a la presencia de contaminantes ambientales y tóxicos y estos riesgos de desastre, sino a partir la mezcla de eso con todas los discursos en torno a esos peligros.
I've been talking about a court case that we have been battling with. A court case brought against some speakers in a class that we taught at the university about a mining company, and they were then sued by this mining company for discussing what we asked them to discuss, which was how do we produce evidence in a time where there are non-disclosure agreements, bribes, secret backroom deals. So I used that situation to try to open up the question of how do we talk and think about the Anthropocene, given that the Anthropocene is also a time of the non-disclosure of evidence, in a sense, the systemic corruption of evidence.
I have presented a paper on ambient plastic in a panel with the UK scholar Nortje Mares on environmental objects. And my work has involved for the last 10 years researching the history and uses and effects of plastic cultures.
La idea era traer o juntar a investigadores de la conferencia de KCE con miembros de la comunidad, con los que hemos estado fabricando este dron por 5 domingos. Y básicamente tener una conversación sobre el potencial de las tecnologías libres y de la ciencia libre y del conocimiento libre finalmente. Y ahí es donde se combina o tiene relación con la conferencia, ¿no?
La variedad de nacionalidades, de trayectorias, también es súper interesante ver que en esta conferencia no solo hay académicos, sino que también hay activistas, artistas, hay personas muy jóvenes que están empezando en estos temas y personas muy senior, por ejemplo, entonces es una mezcla bastante productiva.
The dry butte of our elbow and who lives there, and the warm rainforest of our armpit.
De las artes, bueno, no sé.
Te propongo uno.
The future. Wow, that's a difficult question.
Si fuera una sola palabra, reciprocidad.
El concepto es convivencialidad. Necesitamos un futuro convivial, hecho en tecnologías conviviales, con formas conviviales de existir.
Solidaridad.
Well, I could sum up my vision of the future in one word, in a sense, which is planetarity or planetariness, you know.
I may be a little predictable here because I would say experiment.
Diverso, porque creo que todas las soluciones son incompletas en cierta medida y tienen que conversar una con otra.
Si tengo que decirlo, yo quisiera que el futuro contenga una resacralización de la vida en todos sus sentidos.
Well, I don't know what other people have said. One of the things that I'm hoping the future is loving.
Diversidad.
I think the realistic assessment from me, and I am a cynic, is surviving against the odds. And I hope that we can turn that into thriving against the odds. But I think the odds are stacked up against us.
I'm fully aware that many people are suffering. So one choice is to try to come up with a series of social and technical and managerial adaptations. That's one choice. And that's a choice which I think will lead to massive suffering and deepening inequality. Or the other choice is that we politicize matters in such a way that the mechanisms to which that inequality that organizes the social ecological structure of the earth, that inequality itself is being addressed. And that is, of course, a political question.
Alianzas. Alianzas inimaginables. Alianzas entre gente que tiene intereses que son similares, aunque no necesariamente sean exactamente los mismos. Por ejemplo, una alianza entre yo y Eric, el que acaba de hablar, que tenemos intereses muy similares, pero nuestros intereses similares vienen también con muchas tensiones.
Altering is both acknowledging that we live in a changed world. Michelle Murphy's alter life. Life has changed dramatically since the advent of petrochemical production, but also a mode of politics whereby we don't contest, but we don't sort of contest nightmares, but we make dream worlds. And I think that to me is a mode that I see being taken up, where we're not necessarily fighting, but we are making more desired futures that will seduce abandonment away from the existing problems of today.
Je ne suis pas optimiste parce que l'optimiste a des certitudes. Je ne suis pas pessimiste parce que le pessimiste a des certitudes. Je suis ici en train de suivre le travail notamment d'une de mes collègues qui s'appelle Bénédicte Zitouni, qui reprend Virginia Woolf, qui elle-même, c'est de dire le futur est sombre et c'est notre chance, parce que sombre ne veut pas dire nécessairement noir, mais veut dire aussi bourré, plein d'incertitudes.
I think that's such an important question because in the social sciences and humanities we talk so much about histories and we very seldom think about the future. And futures are as politically important as our histories. And how people conceptualize the future. So for me, the future that's under discussion in a conference like this is what is the future of the kinds of knowledges that we teach and produce in a university, so that we can create a generation of students that are capable of articulating an objection to neoliberal dogma.
I guess I would like it to be a more humane and a more ecologically sensitive place, a place where we can have open discussions about different ways of living together, more peacefully, more sustainably. I think that's going to be very difficult to try and make happen, but I'm interested in thinking that will make it more real, that we can take back the world for kind of the possibilities that we all have within us to be more caring for each other and caring for our planet.